Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Keep Running with BK. And currently I'm following the MAF training method as my primary training methodology, which involves certain exercise, dietary, and recovery principles that, when followed in the proper context, can actually benefit my running. And later this month, I'm actually coming up on 1 year since I discovered and started trying the MAF training method. And it's gotten me thinking as I'm preparing, what I want to share in that upcoming video, what I want to share about MAF. And MAF, like any other method, is just a tool. And a fool with a tool is still a fool. What do I mean by that? Well, stay tuned and I'll be right back to tell you right after this. There are a lot of training methodologies out there, and there are a lot of great coaches, great athletes, and professionals in the athletic training industry who have developed training approaches that we all love to read about and discuss and talk about. And there's a lot of benefit to all of them, but I believe they have to be taken in the proper context for them to be useful to us. And what I mean by that is, they're tools to help us to develop and become better runners. And in order for it to be useful, we have to learn how to properly use it. It would be foolish to take MAF or any training method right out of the box, plug it in, turn our brain off, and then expect to have the desired results of the training methodology. It just doesn't work that way. These are tools that we learn how to use, apply them to our lives, apply them to our running, and we develop and we tweak our use, and we learn how to use it more effectively so we can continue to improve as runners. We learn how to measure the effectiveness of those tools and how to tweak them and calibrate them to fit our unique abilities and our unique strengths and weaknesses. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not my experience is going to be your experience and vice versa, but it does involve a learning process. And even when you read Dr. MAF's foreword in the Big Yellow Book, he says this is a learning experience with the long view in mind, and I really appreciate that. And I think it's important for us as runners to keep in mind. Perhaps you discovered MAF or some other training method like I did in a book or on a YouTube video like this one. And we would be foolish to think by just reading a few paragraphs or listening to a YouTube video or having a conversation with someone that we have completely figured out and completely understand in the training approach and how to properly use it, how to measure our progress effectively and adjust our training accordingly. We have to go through a series of trial and errors. We have to do evaluation to try to understand, how's my body responding to this? What changes should I make? Did that change work? Did that change not work? Going back to the drawing board and reevaluating, do I really understand? Do I have the proper understanding and context of the training principles that the methodology is built on? That's where the real value is. And I believe that we can learn that from multiple sources, multiple methodologies. It really discourages me when I watch these videos or I participate in online forums and communities where we're talking about these things and people feel the need to bash one training methodology over another. Or say that it's garbage and it doesn't work. I have a hard time believing that. My observation with many people is we like the quick fix. We want the quick results. We want to just take it out of the box, plug it in, go, and instant gratification, instant results. And I don't believe running works that way, at least not for the long haul. You know, this channel is called Keep Running with BK, and that keep running is really important to me. It's a mantra that I have used and reminded myself of for over 25 years now, because it reminds me that my primary goal as a runner is I desire to be able to run for a long time. I enjoy running so much that it is a lifestyle for me. It's something that I want to be able to do, you know, for another couple decades, God willing. But I got to learn to take care of myself. I have to learn how to evolve as a runner and adjust my approach if I want to do that. Yes, races are fun, milestones are fun, you know, personal bests, you know, running for a certain time. All those things are fun. All those things are things that I enjoy as well, but those are all secondary. And they are just blips on the long-term big picture timeline. And there's a time and a place to train specifically for those. And I think that's a relevant thing to understand, especially when it comes to some of the principles in the MAF training methodology, which is focused on slowing down, learning what easy truly is, developing an often underdeveloped aerobic base, and then moving forward, placing it in its proper context. And a lot of these running training principles, the timing is important, and there's a time and a place for it. And this slower, lower heart rate training methodology, I think, is perfect for when you're starting out, or you need to reset, or you're someone like me who's been running for a very long time, but you know, I hit a ceiling. I would get to 30-35 miles a week, and I would start trying to push beyond that, and I'd start to break down, or I would start getting injured. I would start to lose motivation. You know, and the MAF training method in particular taught me that the reason for that is because I was running too hard too often, and I needed to learn what easy really was. I needed to learn to slow down. I needed to develop that aerobic base properly so I could build my mileage, which is kind of what I'm doing this summer. I'm trying to build my mileage from that typical, you know, 25 to 35 miles a week that I've been running for the past few decades. And I'm trying to consistently run at 35 miles a week. And now I'm trying to consistently run at 40 miles a week. And I've got my eyes set on trying to gradually and safely build to 45 miles a week before running an ultramarathon this fall. And then this fall, I will probably focus on some more time trials or some more races, and I'll do some speed work and stuff, but I'll be building on top of a foundation. And it's cyclic, because I have a training cycle over the course of the year with the big picture in mind. These are important things to keep in mind. So please don't get caught up in that trap of bashing a method because it didn't seem to work, or you didn't have the desired results or the experiences. Like many of these things, they take time, and they're not going to happen overnight. And if you want to run for the long haul, if you want to keep running, if you want to keep running with BK, you've got to have that long-term view and approach your training with that in mind. Otherwise, you're going to be taking any approach that you come across out of the box, plugging it in. I didn't get results, and you're going to discount it and dismiss it and throw it away. And you may be missing out on a major breakthrough in your training. I ran an ultramarathon last fall for the first time in my life because with the MAF training methodology and some of the things that I learned, I was able to have a breakthrough in my own running and be able to build up the training volume that would support me comfortably running 50 kilometers and finishing. All my attempts prior to that, I couldn't even get out of the training phase. I would get to a certain point and I would just be so demoralized. I'd be so broken down because I couldn't build the training volume because the approach that I was using, and you know, and the principles that I was training by weren't sufficient. I didn't have a proper understanding. I wasn't making the proper tweaks and evaluation and all those things necessary to continue to develop and evolve into the runner that I could become. Well, I know that this week's video is a little philosophical, and really it comes from a place where I'm really just reflecting on the past year as I've really dedicated and focused primarily on the MAF or MAF training method, and just really thinking about the things that I've learned along the way. You know, and many of those things that I learned was from watching other YouTube videos, other channels, learning from their experiences, learning from their insights. I finally got the book and I've started reading the book. I've tried to apply these things, and I'm measuring my progress each month with a MAF test. I'm evaluating it and I'm tweaking things, and I'll continue to tweak things. And you know, in this fall I will probably continue, just like I did this spring, carrying with me some of those principles that I learned from the MAF training method, but I'll have a more of an 80-20 approach, and I'm going to revisit that training methodology and dive deeper into it and develop other systems. You know, running is a collection of many systems within our body and within our minds and our thinking that all have to be developed, all have to come together for us to be a full and complete runner who lives up to their full potential. And that's what I desire to achieve, and that's what I hope to share with all of you here on this channel, are those running insights that I gain from my own training, and offer you training tips so that you can learn from my experiences, so that you can continue to improve as a runner, so that all of us can keep running for the long haul. And that's what it's all about. Well, as I said, that's all I've got for you this week. I hope you found value in this video. Before you go, please click the like button. And if you're new to this channel and what I've talked about sounds interesting to you, I've got other videos that you can check out, and I've got plenty more videos coming in the days ahead, the weeks ahead. So consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and I would love, as always, to hear from all of you. What are your thoughts on the things that I shared today? Any insights that you would offer? Any questions that you would have? Do you think I'm off base on anything? You know, what did I share that really resonated with you that you would agree with? Let's talk about it in the comments below. And until next time, stay safe and keep running.